Hey everybody, what's happening? Sammy, the Thrifty Brewer, coming at you, and welcome to a little bit of an update on the Dunkelweizen. I'm going to do a little bit of a taste test and give you guys a bit of an update in terms of how I think it turned out. So come along with me. We'll enjoy a beer together. Cheers. Back in a bit. Okay, so the Dunkelweizen. It was actually a kit I bought from a local supplier, not a local supplier, a supplier in Canada. Never done a Dunkel before. It's basically a dark wheat beer. And standard wheat beer until you add the chocolate malt. Brewed it up with WB06, I believe. Sorry, pardon me. Bit of a long week. Anyway, the Dunkelweizen. Let's tuck into it. Let's take a little look-see-poo. This is pulled off the keg. I will admit I have had this before. Pardon me. Yeah, nice. Nice white head. Original aroma. Get a little bit of chocolate notes off there. A little bit of dark roasted notes, which is really, really cool. Finished off at 4.4 ABV, which is sort of what I was looking for. Based on the recipe, I do not have in front of me. I'll post a link to the recipe in the comments below if I can remember. But let's tuck on in, shall we? Cheers. Yeah, great wheat esters there from the yeast, obviously. I will do a liquid wheat yeast, I think, next time. See how I can bump up a little bit of the phenolics, maybe get a little bit more cloviness, a little bit more spiciness to that, which I think would probably pair really, really well with that being a traditional wheat beer. But with the chocolate malt, I think it would probably be a really cool little twist. But overall, not bad. It's basically, yeah, wheat malt, a little bit of two-row, I think, or maybe some Munich. I can't remember. Like I said, I'll post a recipe down below. But overall, not too shabby. So, would I brew it again? Absolutely. I love dark beers in the winter. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just that we don't have much sun, especially beginning of winter, middle of winter. It's like dark very, very early, and then dark very, very early. Dark very, very early, dark very, very early during the day, if you get what my meaning. So I'm having a nice lower ABV beer, darker, that sort of fits with the whole environmental thing, if you will. Works really, really well. You can quaff a couple of those and not feel off your face, which is nice. Not that I do that anymore, but it's nice to relax and sit back and have a beer. And it doesn't have to be like a really big, like Russian Imperial Stout or a really big IPA or anything like that. It's nice for a little bit of a change. So yes, if you're inquiring about it, yeah, the kit was from OntarioBeerKegs.com or OBK. Those of you guys in Canada, definitely pick it up. Well worth the effort, I think. Worked out really, really well. I will definitely do it again. It's some actually pretty good head retention on there. This has been in keg for roughly about, I think it's got to be close to, I don't know, at least a week, 2 weeks now. But kegged it at about 10 psi and let it ride out for about 4 or 5 days. Knocked the pressure back, and I served this at about 4 or 5 pounds. And it's quite nice. Like I said earlier, it's a nice change. I'm getting a bit of a aftertaste to it, but that's because I have to clean up my taps, because I didn't clean my taps before I put this beer on keg, which is my own fault. So do not let that take away from you guys trying this beer. Never done a Dunkelweizen before. I really strongly recommend doing it. Yeah, it's actually pretty dang tasty. Anyways, it's a short one this week, but what I want to tell you guys, some cool, exciting things coming down the pipe. Next week, I'm going to be brewing up a Supercharger IPA, or Supercharger Pale Ale, from the guys at Panhead in New Zealand, in honor of my friend and yours, Paul Wicksteed, who was tragically taken from us a few years ago. And I have not yet brewed the peculiar one. I do promise I will do something like that in the future. But the Supercharger I love. This will be my third time brewing it. First time when I brewed with the International Brew Day, the first time we did it was a complete and utter disaster. Got my hop schedule screwed up, had a boil over. It was an absolute mess. But on a positive note, I did get to catch up with some really great brew tubers out there. I meet some really cool new brew tubers who I would not have had the pleasure of meeting prior. I did do it again a second time, and it worked out really, really good. So I decided to brew it up again. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to do a live video feed or not. It really depends on the old Wi-Fi in the shed. I got to look into getting an extender. I mean, I'd get full coverage out here, but the problem is it really comes down to hardware and what it's going to handle. Nothing faster than a cable, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing faster than a cable. So yeah, that's what's happening on the brewing side. On the equipment side, cleaning out the basement in the house, and I literally tripped over one of my old kegs, and I'm like, frick, you know what? I should really do something with this. I was mucking about a while ago by building an HLT in a previous video. Nothing really ever came to fruition with that. So I'm going to revisit that, I think. But I'm going to mix things up a little bit. I got some new ideas. I'm not going to get too much into detail on that. But it's pretty cool. I'm excited. It's the equipment side of homebrewing is what really gets me excited. Not only is it the brewing, but it's actually being able to build and make and construct your own stuff. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with buying something like a Grainfather or a Robo Brewer like that, because you know what? If I had that much disposable income, I'd be all over that like a fat kid on a Smartie. Guaranteed. But we do what we do, and I've always said, use what works for you and brew with what works for you. So, we're going to do something different. A little bit different. Not really different, but those of you guys who are on the BrewTube Facebook page, you know all about it, so it's really not much of a secret. I'm just really, really stoked about it. The Red Racer IPA is coming along really, really nicely. I dry hopped that on the 22nd. 21st. It is now actually the 25th, so it's been in dry hop now for 4 days. Finished off at 1010, which gives me a 6.8 ABV beer because starting gravity was 1062. I did take a wee sample, and I was quite impressed. Young, absolutely, guaranteed young, and it was just like, it's got potential, it's going to be good. So I'm really looking forward to that. Last week, I did brew up a hodgepodge beer. Now, when I brew up a hodgepodge beer, it's basically I take all of my old grains, or all of my existing grains that I have, and I go to my freezer and I say, what hops are going to work with these? So I actually ended up being able to brew a brown ale, which was really, really cool. It started out at 10:49. It is pleasantly bubbling away. Right there. Doing its thing. And that's the Red Racer IPA, which is currently sitting on 1 ounce of Centennial, 1 ounce of Amarillo, and 1 ounce of Simcoe. It's got another 3 or 4 days to go. Then we're going to cold crash that, let it settle out, let it mellow for a little bit, then keg it. But this was done with a harvested sample of WLP002, the English ale yeast. And it's doing its thing, happy. Now, I was a little bit slow to kick off because I was lazy and didn't bother to do a yeast starter. So it took about, a good day and a half, almost 2 days to really kick into high gear like it is right now. And I was worried about having a blowover, or just a blowout. So that's why I have the blow off tube there. But yeah, it's working out really, really good. So yeah, that's really sort of what's going on. Now the one thing I want to do a Q&A with you guys. I want to do a question and answer period. So if you guys would be so kind, ask me some questions. I do read all the comments. I do apologize. I'm a little bit remiss in responding to all of you guys. Life's busy. Everything gets in the way, and it's all about being a dad first and a home brewer second. But I do read all of them. When I do have time, I do try to respond to some as I can. Anyways, send me some questions. We'll do a Q&A. Because I think they're kind of fun. So nothing is taboo. Ask me whatever you want. Keep it somewhat clean, obviously. I know after we've all had a couple beverages that the mind tends to wander and things tend to go to dirty thoughts, so to speak. Anyways, if you do that for me, that'd be awesome. So we'll do a Q&A. I'll record all the questions down. We'll do a Q&A, we'll do some links, we'll do some We'll do some sub. We'll do some sub. Blah, 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 blah. And then we'll do some links, whatever. We'll make it fun. We'll make it lighthearted. It'll be a good time. Anyways, so yeah, still unsure if I'm going to do a live brew day or not. A little bit of pressure with that, but you know what? In honor of the man, Paul Wigsteed, we may have to make that work some way, shape, or form. If not, I will definitely be actively posting updates on Facebook as well as on the BrewTube page, because I think it's important that you remember the man who has given us so much information and brought so much joy into our lives, and still does with memories. Great, great memories. Anyways, rambled on long enough. The OntarioBeerKegs.com, Dunkelweizen, those of you guys in Canada, if you haven't brewed it, brew it. It's a great, great beer. It's nice for the winter. Like I said, it's a nice light beer for the winter. Did you know we're all about winter up here right now? Anyways, this is Sammy the 50 Brewer saying, if you're going to do something new with the homebrew, like that, by all means, keep calm and brew on, and most importantly, please be safe with everybody. Cheers. Take care. All the best. We'll see you on the flip side. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do it. So I try and do a video at least every week. Missed last week due to family commitments, but you know what? It is what it is. Being a home brewer second, and a dad first. Anyways, you guys, thanks again. Take care. All the best. Cheers.